Hello, Hare Krishna. So, welcome to today's Bhagavad Gita class. We're going to be speaking from chapter 11, text number 36, the universal form. So, we're first going to begin with the Jai Radha Madhava prayers. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Adava Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Rad Amadava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Thank you. So now we're going to start reading from chapter 11, text number 36, and we're going to start with the Sanskrit recitation. Arjuna Uvacha Stani Rishikesha Tava Prakritya Jagat Prihasyati Anurajyateja Rakshamsi Bhutani Tisodravanti Sarve Namasyanti Chasida Sangaha. Arjuna Uvacha Stani Rishikesha Tave Prakritya Jagat Prahisrityati Anurajyatecha Rakshamsi Bhutani Tisodravanti Sarve Namasyanti Chaseda Sangaha. And the word for word. Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna said, Stani, rightly, Rishika Isha, O master of all senses, Tava, your, Prakritya, by the glories, Jagat, the entire world, Prahishrati, is rejoicing, Anurajyate, is becoming attached, Cha, and, Rakshamsi, the demons, Bitani, out of fear, Disha, in all directions, Dravanti, are fleeing, Sarve, all, namasyanti, are offering respects, cha, also, siddha sangaha, the perfect human beings. And translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Okay. Arjuna said, O Master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid, and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done. And purport. Arjuna, after hearing from Krishna about the outcome of the battle of Kurukshetra, became enlightened, and as a great devotee of and friend of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he said that everything done by Krishna is quite fit. Arjuna confirmed that Krishna is the maintainer and the object of worship for the devotees and the destroyer of the undesirables. His actions are equally good for all. Arjuna understood herein that when the battle of Kurukshetra was being concluded, in outer space there were present many demigods, siddhas, and the intelligentsia of the higher planets, and they were observing the fight because Krishna was present there. When Arjuna saw the universal form of the Lord, the demigods took pleasure in it, but others, who were demons and atheists, could not understand it when the Lord was praised. Out of their natural fear of the devastating form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they fled. Krishna's treatment of the devotees and the atheists is praised by Arjuna. In all cases, a devotee glorifies the Lord because he knows that whatever he does is good for all. Srila Prabhupada Ki. So, here we have Arjuna speaking, and he's glorifying Krishna. So Arjuna recognizes that Lord Shri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when we see actually at the time of the Battle of Kurukshetra and 5,000 years ago, not everyone who actually had Krishna's association could appreciate Krishna as being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we take, for example, Shishupal. So Shishupal, he was very envious of Krishna. And this is also a lesson for us as well, that simply if we think of Krishna, then we can actually get some benefit. But Shishupal, he was always blaspheming Krishna, and Krishna stated that he would tolerate this to 100 times. And exactly at the Rajasuya sacrifice on the 100th occasion, Shishupal, he received Krishna's mercy in the way that Krishna gives mercy to the demons. So Krishna, he killed Shishupal with his Sudarshan chakra. And we might think, from material perspective, that it's unjust or whatever, and so on. But from a higher perspective, we see that actually the Supreme Lord, even to be killed by the Supreme Lord, is very merciful. And on that occasion, we could see Shishupal's, the light from his soul merge into Krishna. So he received in personal liberation. So it says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharataha abhuta nama dharmasya tanatmana shridamyaham. That whenever there is a predominant rise of a religion, and that actually Krishna will come to establish actual principles of religion. And Krishna's his mission is actually to give protection to the devotees and to annihilate the demons. And also, as we can see in terms of Srila Prabhupada, that Krishna can actually send his associates also to help establish religious principles throughout society. And in this age of Kali Yuga, it's much different. It's when Krishna was present 5,000 years ago, that was the previous yuga. And in the previous yuga, Dwapara Yuga, that Krishna was actually, he was killing the demons and so on. But Krishna has actually appeared in this Kali Yuga as Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and through the actual chanting of the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Through the chanting of the holy name, that's how we actually destroy all demonic propensities. So all these unwanted, as Sri Prabhupada mentions in the purport, the undesirables. We all have a conditioned nature, unfortunately, where we should never think that we're free or we're perfect from all blemishes of material contamination. We're all actually, to one degree or another, what Sri Prabhupada would describe as that we're contaminated by this material energy, the material influence. So this influence is described as the three modes of material nature. And it's these modes of material nature which are actually causing us to help facilitate our desires within this material world. So from a higher perspective, this is a very unfortunate position. Srila Prabhupada he would call it a precarious situation, that we don't realize in this material world there's no real joy or fulfillment to be found, but due to this illusion we become very much illusioned, and we think that there's something good to be found here, and it's simply an illusion of the material nature to try and keep us bound. So this material nature, it's Krishna's energy. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatamam prapadyante tam sadeva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manusya partha sarvasaha, that as all souls surrender unto me, that he will reward us accordingly. So as we surrender unto Krishna, this doesn't necessarily mean Krishna personally. So Krishna, he has these different energies, and this material energy is also Krishna as well. his external energy. So we can either actually serve Krishna, personally, through the process of devotional service, or we can serve Krishna through his external material energy. And I wonder if you can tell me, what does it mean to serve Krishna's external energy? Yeah. So it means that ultimately we're trying to serve ourselves. When we try to enjoy material nature, that's self-motivated. And when we try to serve Krishna, that's actually, it's, at least it might not be selfless in the beginning, but at least it's an aspiration. And that's all we can actually try for at this moment, that we have actually, the only free will we have is a minute independence to actually to decide who we will serve. And so that's, we can also just only serve Krishna or the material energy. Also the spiritual master, who is Krishna's representative. So, in terms of the battle of Kurukshetra, this is an example for all of us, that we can see that even though such actual great devotees of Krishna like Bhishma Dev, he was on the actual opposing party, and he was still very Krishna conscious, completely Krishna conscious. But still, due to being on the opposing side, he was still slain on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Simply, this was, for Bhishma Dev, it was Leela in one sense. It was to actually, for us to learn and to see. So this is the lesson. And as I stated towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita, we see Lord Hanuman, and his flag was on Krishna's chariot, and this is a sign of victory, as Lord Hanuman was victorious as a servant of Lord Ram in the previous yugas. So we see also that Arjuna was also victorious in that sense, as Arjuna actually being a surrendered soul unto Krishna. So this is something to understand, that Krishna is actually equal towards everyone. Just like the sunshine, the sun will shine everywhere. But those that, let's just say, for example, the plants and so on that are in the shade, they won't be able to prosper so much in the sunlight. So Krishna actually, he wants to just give us unlimited mercy and blessings, but we have to actually be willing to partake of that. So it's very important to understand the process, that in terms of the influence of material nature, that we become controlled and dictated by our senses, and these six senses, which include the mind. Mame vamso jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha. So these were Krishna's eternal fragments of parts and parcels, but due to these six senses, which actually include the mind, we're struggling very hard in this material existence. So Krishna is known as Rishikesh. So Krishna is actually the master of the senses, and immediately when we engage in devotional service, this means that we become transcendently situated, that we immediately everything becomes as spiritualized, and we go beyond these actual material designations. This to try and understand this. For example, everything is actually Krishna's energy, as we mentioned previously, the material and the spiritual worlds. But ultimately, everything is spiritual, having emanated from Krishna. But due to our consciousness, we're unable to perceive that. But for example, if we use like this microphone in Krishna's service, it's no longer considered material. And for example, one who is always engaged in devotional service, such as a spiritual master, they're considered no longer material, that they're spiritualized. So Sri Prabhupada, he gives the example that like the steel rod in the fire, it takes on the quality of the fire, and ultimately it acts just like fire, but still it's not the fire in that sense. And this is something which Sri Prabhupada, he preached strongly about. I recently read a book called Dancing White Elephants by His Holiness Giriraj Swami. So this was in 1970 to 1972, and he was preaching, but he was having great difficulty everywhere he went. In India, he was thinking that, he's getting so much feedback that he was preaching boldly and preaching strongly that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he was speaking in terms of the scriptures that that Krishna is the Supreme, that even great personalities such as Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, they're still actually servants of Krishna. And he was preaching that actually, in order to actually, for pure devotional service, we have to worship Vishnu or Lord Krishna. And even though personalities as Lord Shiva are great, people generally worship Lord Shiva for material boons and benefits, and Lord Brahma and so on. But actually, we can still worship Lord Shiva as a servant of Krishna, and that actually is what really actually pleases Lord Shiva. But Giriraj Swami, he was preaching quite strongly about this, and everywhere he was getting this negative feedback, that just give it a break. People can, they can worship. If someone wants to worship Ganesh, just let them worship Ganesh. But he was really, starting to have doubts. And then coincidentally, he happened to receive a letter from Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada wrote that just like his spiritual master, His Holiness, His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, that he would never compromise, and His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, he was known as Line Guru, and Srila Prabhupada, he is also saying this as well, and this actually gave Giriraj Swami conviction that, that he was actually, it seemed like he thought maybe Krishna was trying to give him a message that, maybe I am preaching wrongly or too strong, but but actually he got that confirmation that it was good to actually, because for people's ultimate benefit, they had to realize that the Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Shri Shri Sita Ram Laxman Hanuman ki, Shri Shri Gauranitai ki. So to actually to realize that the demigods are ultimately servants of Krishna. The demigods, they're like government administrators, and the Krishna is like the head of the government. So they're all actually dear to Krishna. They're all they all have their service and their particular role in relation to Krishna, but ultimately they're all under Krishna's supervision, and they're very, very happy to serve Krishna. So this is a very important message, that all these different personalities and demigods, they're actually subservient to Krishna, and they're actually more pleased if we ask for blessings in our devotion to Krishna rather than for material benefits. Just to mention about Lord Shiva, that Lord Shiva is a very special position. He's not like a regular soul. In the spiritual world, Lord Shiva is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in the material world, it's, he's actually what we call Vishnu Tattva in the spiritual world. But in the material world, he actually has a transformation. This transformation, so he's the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world, and then when he actually comes into the material world, it's like the changing of milk to yogurt. So it's still the same substance, but the yogurt can't be changed back to the milk. So that's in this material world, and that's Lord Shiva, who's known as Rudra. And still Lord Shiva, he's known as Vaishnavam Shambhu, so he's the topmost Vaishnav. Just to mention a bit more about in terms of devotional service, that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has given us this process for this age. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's none other than Lord Sri Krishna in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So he's Lord Sri Krishna in the mood of a devotee. And there's a pastime actually behind that Krishna in the spiritual world, he became somewhat subdued, that he couldn't understand the depths of the love of his topmost devotee, Srimati Radharani. And for this pastime, he manifested as Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than Krishna himself, but with the mood of Srimati Radharani as a servant and devotee. And then Krishna, as Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by his supreme example, he has inaugurated the Sankirtan movement, which means the congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So this is his mercy, because he has given a process which is very simple, very easily accessible, and very practical in this age of Kali Yuga. So this age of Kali Yuga, it's known as the dark age, and this is more an age of tribulation and quarrel. And in this age, people are in need of more easily accessible mercy. Previously, people would say that only, someone who is, a Brahmin, or that you have to have some qualification. But the fact of the matter is that devotional service is available for everyone. That actually anybody can chant the holy name of the Lord, and that that's actually, in terms of these different case systems, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that they have, in India, they became more corrupted as time went on due to the influence of Kali Yuga, but actually the real case systems, Srila Prabhupada called it a classless society, that actually they function harmoniously for everyone's benefit, and they cooperate for ultimately for everyone's own salvation and everyone's own purification. So I'd like to ask if there's any questions. Yeah. Okay. So if you like, maybe we could all chant together the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, thank you very much. And just in case you haven't read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, that I would recommend to read it, because it obviously explains everything in much more detail, and all I can do is sincerely recommend that. He wrote Bhagavad Gita as it is, so this is that we can actually know things as they are from authentic sampradaya, and which explains the essence of the Vedic scriptures, which is devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. So it's a very profound message, and Srila Prabhupada mentioned that it's very important to take this great movement very seriously. So thank you very much. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Bhagavad Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, all glorious assembled devotees. Krishna.